Rotoworld headlines.
We do. We've got a little clip to throw to on J.K. Dobbins and his injury update. A tough update from Lamar Jackson.
All right.
Day by day, he's getting better. I told him I want him to slow down, but he's looking pretty good. So hopefully he'll be out in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that guy, and he's very eager to play. I guess he's been hearing a little outside noise. He ready to go.
Couple weeks away.
Couple weeks.
Yeah.
That was notable.
Yeah.
That was eyebrow raising.
Yeah, just threw that in there, Lamar.
Just
Does that
kind
change
of
your opinion?
Yeah, and so what I would say is I think there's absolutely a chance, obviously, that he's not playing in week one. Weeks, who knows? He's not a team doctor. I think he was trying to, I don't want to speak for Lamar, but my sense is that Lamar was basically trying to say, like, hey, he's ready to go. He wants to prove everyone wrong. He's going to be out there in a couple weeks. He doesn't know J.K. Dobbins' timetable. I do think there is a chance. I actually heard from a source last night that he is unlikely to play this Sunday, but they think he'll be back next week in week 2. Understand that Gus Edwards is already on the physically unable to perform list. I think Mike Davis has a chance here to be sort of interesting, right? I mean, they play the Jets.
They do.
The Jets are not good. Hashtag analysis. Look at that. There you go. God bless.
Yeah, I think Kenyon Drake as well, just for a couple of weeks. We've talked a lot about Kenyon Drake, Mike Davis on this show, haven't we? Amir Abdullah, those types of players.
I'm not ready to – I am not – in week 1 of the NFL, when you don't have any buys, unless you're dealing with massive injury issues, and I don't think there are that many running backs that are banged up, I'm not starting Kenyon Drake.
No.
You want to play him as a cheap punt play in DFS? I got no problem. In a GPP, fine. Knock yourself out. I do think Mike Davis, even if Dobbins is healthy and active for this game, Davis is going to get probably half the touches. And I think there's a chance that Davis is the lead running back against the Jets for the Baltimore Ravens. I will say, though, I think it's a big Lamar Jackson game, right? I mean, so we'll see how this all plays out, but I think your ride or die this year in Lamar Jackson starts off with a big game against the Jets.
I think so, and I think the players who might benefit most from a fantasy perspective, it's not even necessarily the running backs. It's not necessarily Drake and Davis. It's more Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, and then also Lamar Jackson, who's just going to have to do more and accumulate more of the yards himself on the ground.
Worth noting, both Mike Davis and Isaiah Likely made the other receiving votes portion of my love-hate column today.
There you go. Okay, a more optimistic update on a running back.
All right.
No limitations on James Robinson in his return from an Achilles. How does that change where you've got James Robinson?
Well, I think it's really encouraging. I've said this before, and I quote tweeted Mike Florio, at Pro Football Talk, put this out earlier today, this same thing, that that Peterson, there are no limitations on him. This is a quote from Doug Peterson on September 7th. I've been in situations like this where you want to go in and control the pace of play with a guy like James, but if he's feeling good and there hasn't been any setbacks or anything, then you just go. You just roll with it. James Robinson himself says, quote, "If I had limitations, I wouldn't be out there. I feel good. I'll go out there to be me again." Again, this is a guy who was, prior to his Achilles injury, basically a borderline top 20 running back on a Jaguars team that we think was brutal last year. One of the worst offenses in the NFL, just an absolute disaster under Urban Meyer. However, and he got a lot of touches, though. I mean, like, James Robinson got a lot of touches. I want to be clarified. Like, when you say Urban Meyer and touches, you have to really clarify what you're talking about. And I'm talking about James Robinson. So I'm talking about James Robinson there, who got a lot of touches last year and was productive despite the fact of being a bad offensive line. Okay, now, much better offensive line. They improved it this offseason. They have ETN. We expect this offense to be a lot better. Peterson likes to use multiple running backs. James Robinson, who's going as running back 45 in Yahoo, remains. He was on my preseason love list. We talked about him on the show, Jay. Like, he's going way too late. Like, they don't want Travis Etienne to run between the tackles. Connor Rogers and I talked about this as well. He's not a between the tackles 20-touch-a-game guy. Etienne isn't. And so with Peterson and the fact that he's healthy, that he has no limitations, I think going to be one of the biggest steals, even if he gets half of the Jaguars running back touches, one of the biggest steals of the drafts this year.
Yep, this is going to be a timeshare. This is how Doug Peterson does things. It's how he did them in Philadelphia. And also, you raised the point that the Jags, they were terrible last year. This year they're going to be better. My favorite bet of for any team to win a division is the Jags at plus 750. They're going to be putting up big numbers on teams like the Texans. The Colts and the Titans aren't that intimidating either. So I think there's lots of scope for James Robinson to outperform his ADP. Now, turning to the pessimistic side, George Kittle. He injured his groin on Monday. Did not practice on Wednesday. There's a little bit swirling around the Niners now. There's some injury concerns.
By the way, you said you mentioned he injured his groin, and then you said swelling, and I wasn't sure where you were going. There was some swelling, and I'm just like, oh, God, is Jay going to get us canceled in week 3? But you didn't.
It's the Australian accent. It turns I's into E's.
Yeah, no.
Swirling around.
Swirling, not swelling around. Got it, understood. Okay, good. So I just want to assure everyone watching, and especially our friends at Applebee's,
yes,
that you did not say swelling and groin.
No,
they have nothing to do with
swelling.
each other.
No.
We have no idea whether George Kittle's groin has swelled or not.
We can't confirm that it hasn't.
Yeah, we don't know.
No.
We are not up to date on the swelling status of his groin. We just know George Kittle's groin is injured.
We have no.
We don't know how it's injured.
No, but it is injured.
Yes.
We'll get research on it. Maybe we get Blake and Damien to give us some status updates on the swell condition.
Do a deep dive.
Deep dive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
really get in the crevices.
Yeah, be careful with those words as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm being told in my ear that we have actually been canceled, that we're just now talking to ourselves. Jay, what are your concerns if George Kittle misses this? Anytime a tight end shows up on the injury report, that's a concern. The fact that he didn't practice Wednesday after a preseason in which it seemed like the guy was pretty healthy, that raises some eyebrows.
He wasn't 100% healthy last season either. I do think the thing, though, is they have a lot of depth. You can give more targets to Deebo Samuel, to Brandon Ayuk. Trey Lance is obviously going to run the ball as well, but I would just start to get a little bit worried about this Niners team, that the offensive line outside of Trent Williams isn't great. They're depending on players like Jason Verrett. Now George Kittle is injured. They play in a tough division, at least with the Rams and the Cardinals. Not too worried about the Seahawks. So, yeah, I think it's just something to watch, and we'll just have to see. I wouldn't expect that he's going to give that much this week as well, particularly as they're touchdown favorites against the Chicago Bears. So they probably don't need to, unleash the NOS on George Kittle. Yeah. But, it's something to watch.
It's definitely a story to watch, because the truth is that even if he's active, to your point, they're over a touchdown favorite to the Bears. Like, if they get up big, do they say, all right, George, all right, you played a couple of snaps. Like, so it's one of those things that you'd almost rather them be, they'd say, hey, he's inactive,
yes,
than having to try to figure out whether or not he's going to, go out there and give it a go. Worth noting that, Deebo Samuel, weeks 5 and 6 last year when Kittle did not play, he was wide receiver 24, 16.1 fantasy points per game. Week 8 when Kittle didn't play, he was the 7th best wide receiver in fantasy that year. And this is all pre-second half of the season where Deebo just went absolutely bananas. But it is absolutely a concern when you think about the fact that George Kittle has missed 11 games over the last 2 years. Something to watch out for. They have until Friday to determine. We'll know a lot more tomorrow.
I think the thing with the Niners is that they have guys who have more to give on offense. The concern about the Niners is they have too many guys, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen, too many mouths to feed. But now Deebo, he can get more of a workload. Brandon Ayuk can get more of a workload as well.
Yeah, and by the way, and again, as touchdown favorites, maybe they just go more to the run game.
Yes.
Like we like Elijah Mitchell in this game. To Trey Lance, does he just sort of tuck it and run a little bit? It'll be interesting to see how that plays there. We are here in Rams house,
yes,
SoFi Stadium, where the Rams will host the Bills tonight, right here on NBC. Football Night in America precedes that.
You're on that, right?
I am on that.
Yep.
It's Marie Taylor, it's Coach Dungy, it's Coach Garrett, it's Coach Garrett, it's
Chris
Jack
Sims.
Collinsworth, it's Chris Sims, it's Rodney Harrison, it's Mike Florio, and it's me.
And it's you.
And it's me. But I am. I'm in the cast. I'm in the cast photo, and so that'll be on NBC and Peacock. I am a company man. 7 p.m. tonight. Tune in, please. So that's the game, and if we're talking Rams, I think we are contractually obligated to talk about Matthew Stafford's elbow.
Yes, Matthew Stafford's elbow, TM, which has been, I think people are really concerned about this. People are passing Stafford in drafts because of the elbow. They're not betting on the Rams to win the Super Bowl because of the elbow. It doesn't affect the line. It doesn't move their win total. It doesn't change their Super Bowl odds. By all accounts now, he feels better than he did last season. these players, they have to deal with so many nagging injuries. Stafford's has just been more public than most, but this doesn't affect my opinion of Stafford at all. Just going to treat him as though he is fine until he shows that he isn't. Do you have any concern about Matthew Stafford's elbow?
I don't, actually. I mean, one of the reasons why is because the Rams don't seem to. Like, it's something that's going to be monitored. My former colleague Adam Schefter tweeting today that Stafford is now said to feel better today than he did at this time last year. I do know that Adam is tight with a lot of people around the Rams organization, and they haven't signed another quarterback. Like, he's expected to play. He's not expected to be on a pitch count or anything like that. He's going to have to sort of work through it the way he did last year. Had a surgery last year, didn't totally, solve it, I suppose, but again, he played with some version of this last year and obviously was super productive.
To your point, I would be concerned about Matthew Stafford's elbow had they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. Right. Something like that. The fact that they didn't and they're rolling as is, that means if Stafford goes down and there's a real problem, then they're done. They're done for the year, and they're not too worried about that, it seems. Now,
yeah, and by the way, I mean, it is affecting the betting line. The Bills come into this game as favorites. Yeah, which is sort of crazy to me. By the way, give me the Rams.
Yeah.
Give me the Rams getting points at home. McVay 5-0 against the spread as the Rams head coach in Week 1 games.
Plus
he hasn't.
2.5.
Right.
Not a lot of respect for the defending champs.
Not a lot of respect for the defending champs. By the way, the Super Bowl champion has won their opening game. I want to say 5 of the last 6 years.
It's the tradition at this point. I think Eli dropped one to the Cowboys from memory, but that was going back a little while. So certainly, the game is effectively a coin flip, and the Rams not getting a lot of respect. Now, talking about Matthew Stafford not having concerns about his injury, Chris Godwin, a little bit more concerning, I think. Do you have any? We've been big on Chris Godwin. Do you have any concerns that he's not practicing, he's still not taking contact, and the season starts on Sunday?
I'm not concerned, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I don't think you wanted to start Chris Godwin Week 1 anyway. You wanted to see sort of how he's used, especially because, by the way, again, I'm a company man, so this is the Sunday night game. Bucks are playing the Cowboys Sunday night right here on NBC and Peacock, and so it's a big primetime game. The fact is you're not going to know if Chris Godwin is active until Sunday night. With this news and the fact that you're going to have to make lineup decisions prior to Sunday night, makes me feel like you're probably not going to have Chris Godwin Week 1. Fine, whatever. He was still a value. The fact that he's not starting the season on the physically unable to perform list, the fact that he's been out of practice without a knee brace, I feel really good about Chris Godwin. Whether or not he plays this week. Again, I don't think you wanted to use him this week anyway, and based on ADP, you didn't draft him as a starter at any rate.
No, and the thing is the wide receivers, running backs, they always miss 1 to 2 games. That's just how it goes. That's how attrition in the NFL goes, and you just have to hope that Godwin, he's missing his games now, and then will be healthy at the back end of the season.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.